What was the biggest thing that you had to overcome on your journey?
Biggest thing I had to overcome, I think one, just not being the typical height as a pitcher.
Okay.
Being from Mississippi, I didn't go through and have all the lessons to
Mm-hmm.
have the right mechanics, right form.
Right.
And so, during the draft, the same things that made me good is the same thing that they talked about me in the draft, of where I shouldn't get the amount of money that everybody else was getting.
Right.
So that created another chip because it's like, oh, his mechanics are funky. It's like that's not gonna last. His arm's gonna blow out. He's not tall enough, not smart enough. And and I hate it because I see it all the time in like the wording
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of these scouts do for African Americans in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go and do, and I try not to put race into anything because like I've been surrounded by good people all my life. I pride myself on like, hey, even if you don't like black people,
Yeah.
give me a chance and I can show you that it's at least one cool one out here.
Right.
And that's one thing I took pride in when I was on. A lot of times I was the only black person on any of my teams,
Mm-hmm.
and I take pride in that because if I'm going to be the representative of our culture,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give the right representation.
Right.
And we already have that stigma of being angry, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, hey, nah, I'm gonna take a different approach. If you don't like me, like something's obviously wrong with you. Like let's talk about that because I'm trying to see it from an open-minded point of view. And one, you have to understand that they just might not understand your culture, might not have grown up with a lot of people, a lot of blacks around them, and so they only know what they've heard, what they've seen on whatever CNN, Fox News, just point blank period. A lot of people just don't know us. They've been taught to hate us,
Yeah.
and so I just want to be that living proof of like, hey, let's just go off of like what we have right here. Let's go back to this 3 foot diameter of like
Right.
who's here, who's in your space. This is me. I'm not these stereotypes that you used to. I can only be me, and like, yes, I represent like my culture as being an African American. Like, but you have to understand it's good and bad in every single race, culture, or whatever. And some reason we just had that stigma of all the evil stuff is black, all the pure stuff white, and it's everything that you've been taught. I take pride in let's get rid of everything that you think
Mm-hmm.
and let's just take this case by case. It's like because I'm pretty sure you got anyone, you can just look at any family. You
Right.
don't even have to look at race or anything. You can
Mm-hmm.
look at any family. There's one guy that just can't get right, just gonna mess up
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
in and out of jail, whatever.
Of course.
Probably the same situation, same household, and his brother's over here doing everything right. He's using everything from his past to not want to be that,
Right.
and then the other one's using it as an excuse of that's why he is the way he is, and that's all mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to know that, hey, no matter where I was born, I can't help that. I can't help the cards that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I can help is what I do from here on out,
Mm-hmm.
what my plans are, what I don't want to do. What I didn't want to do was, you know, be that same person that like my mom was, working check to check, bringing everything back to the house and still not having enough.
Right.
A lot of people's like, oh, we just don't have the same opportunity, which is true in like a lot of our cases.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm a true believer in money don't bring happiness, but it does give you opportunities. Um,
Right.
and so, just having my mentality, like I don't really like make excuses for myself anymore.
Yeah.
It's yeah, life comes at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And most people try to feel sorry for themselves, like, oh, me, I got a bad break, and my situation, would nobody understand me, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. When in actuality, you can do if you stop feeling bad for yourself, because feeling bad for yourself is not helping you progress at all.
Right. Right.
What you can take is that hurt and that pain is like, I don't want to be like this.
Mm.
So I'm going to work 10 times harder because nobody else knows what this feels like, even if you're wrong. And, that you're just telling yourself that so you can work harder.
Mm-hmm.
You're making yourself better from your past. And it's not a good past. It's just something you don't want to go back to.
Right.
And that's why I was talking about that safety net. I feel like I was tight roping without a safety net because, hey, I don't want to go back to that. Like, I know what's back there.
Right.
If anything, like, even if I have to stay here, if I got to stay here to get my mind right so I can go forward,
Yeah.
I'm going to do anything but go back to the very beginning because, like,
Yeah.
I know that hurt.
Yeah.
And so, that's your mentality because, I'm a true believer. Most people are a product of their environment.
Mm.
But the ones that beat those odds use that, the bad side of that, what they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fathers that weren't in a lot of people's life. They were like, oh, I'm a bad father because I never knew love or whatever. But like, no, you knew how that made you feel. So when you recreate this, when you just go through this cycle and repeat that cycle, you know what it's gonna do to your little man or your little lady.
Mm-hmm.
So if it made you feel that way, how could you even go about it and treat somebody else like that
Mm-hmm.
and have that cycle repeat itself? You learn from that.
Right. Right.
You go back like, I didn't like that, and I'm pretty sure he's like, I don't know if my dad knew what he was doing to me, but I'm not doing that to mine.
Right.
And so, and that's with anything with life. If
Yeah.
if you don't feel sorry for yourself, use everything as learning lessons and learning tools,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't go back to that same hurt
Mm-hmm.
that you had to deal with. And that is the big difference that I've always seen with the ones that get away. How they say some apples do fall far from the tree.
Right.
Hey, that tree was poison, and you chose to keep rolling.
Yeah.
You got to get away from that because like that's not where you want to plant your seeds.
For sure. And just to intervene on that, I think it's a mindset thing. Just the environments that just to be real, black people come from. It's literally they promote it as the trenches or anything, or you come from a situation of not having much, and then you say, like you said, most people say apples don't fall from the tree, but just having the mindset of you can do more. That's a self-belief thing that come within yourself, and you have to accept to yourself that these situations is not good for your life. It's kind of like you spoke on the 13th year, whenever you go into whatever that was. Where I'm from, it's the plants. Whenever you get done with school, no matter how you do, no matter what you do, they're feeding you to go to the plant, which is a good life. And don't condone it, you know what I'm saying? All my people, I know people that work in the plants. I'm not saying that that's a bad life, but when you look at your situation, it's like, that for me, I don't want to do that. I see myself doing more. And a lot of people just can't see that vision within themselves, but they not understanding that everything around you can fuel that image of, oh nah, I don't want to be this, I could be more. But it's a very hard thing to see. And